I think what makes the Council interesting and effective is its mechanisms. It appoints independent experts who, on the behalf of the Council's members, go and monitor human rights on the ground. They visit countries, they talk to victims, they talk to other officials that are involved in protecting human rights, and they ask questions, and they bring truth to power in very important ways. They shed light on what the real problems are in those countries, and then they bring them to the World Forum. They bring them to the Court of Public Opinion, and they make recommendations, and they suggest governments very specifically, here are the things that you could do to improve this situation. Now, part of the time, governments just ignore it, but most of the time, governments take action. They take some kind of corrective action, and that's what my research has shown, that if you really look at specific cases, you'll find that governments, not always right away, and sometimes and not giving credit to the investigator, but they do take steps to improve the situation. We need to increase the resources available to the rapporteurs. Number two is just cooperation from the states themselves. A number of states ignore their communications. They won't let them into their countries to visit. It doesn't mean they can't do their work. There are a number of rapporteurs, for example, who work on North Korea or on Iran. Those governments will not let them in, but they're able to talk to victims of human rights abuses in those countries, around the borders, in the exile community, and are able to issue, I think, legitimate, credible reports. I think we have to pay attention to communication and how they can get their message across. So there needs to be more public attention to their work. There needs to be more media attention. Of course, civil society has a very important role to play in follow-up to their recommendations. And then the UN system itself should do a much better job of integrating the work of the independent experts into their core work plans when it comes to human rights and peacekeeping in different societies. We saw tremendous things happen in the Arab Spring, which I think has shown the relevance of the Human Rights Council to the current human rights discourse in the world. A number of cases were brought before the Council. Libya, in the midst of the terrible situation in Libya, was immediately suspended from the Council, and a number of measures were taken, resolutions which set the stage for Security Council action and the kind of intervention that we saw that led to the removal of Gaddafi. In the case of Syria, you have a commission of inquiry that the Council has appointed to actually get on the ground and do the investigations, and they are the most important reference point for looking at, sad to say, body counts of how many victims there have been on the violence in Syria. So the Arab Spring has given new life. Now, it's also raised the issue of internet freedom. And it's not just an issue in closed societies. I mean, this is a growing problem around the world because governments are threatened. Governments are threatened by the freedom that exists in the internet, and they want to somehow control it. And this is very much an issue of freedom of expression. It's just taking a different form. It's through an electronic media over the internet. I think we've got to protect those rights, and this week at the Human Rights Council, a resolution was adopted recognizing the importance of internet freedom. This was a coalition of states that came together, and I think not just states but advocates as well, technology companies. I think it shows that the Council can also become a forum for growing some kind of international consensus on the frontiers of freedom.